By the end of the century, it is quite possible that the Fertile Crescent could dry up as a result of global warming and climate change. Middle Eastern countries thrived on the legendary soil and agriculture historically, but the land was used too quickly and resources were depleted.
Now, less than 25% of the land is arable, which means agricultural friendly. The following countries are considered part of the Fertile Crescent: Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, and Israel.
Most of the land in the Middle East is desert. The Fertile Crescent should be the exception, and it is to a certain degree.
Okay.
Lebanon is still fairly fertile, while Jordan only has 2% of available land for farming. Iraq is mostly desert and marshes because the land was used so severely in ancient civilizations. The infertility during modern times negatively influences the food availability and job opportunities in agriculture. Also, since pasture is scarce, livestock have few places to graze.
The temperature in the Fertile Crescent is generally hot. The summers on the desert are very dry, as would be expected. Also, the winters are quite cold and sometimes snowy or rainy. These blazing temperatures affect people living in this area in the way that they clothe themselves, too. Typically, they have to abide by their religious practices and dress modestly, for the most part covering themselves from head to toe. In 100-degree heat, they wear loose-fitting clothing made of linen, which is light and probably absorbs sweat easily.
Fortunately, all 5 countries in the current-day Fertile Crescent border bodies of water like the Mediterranean Sea, the Persian Gulf, and the Gulf of Aqaba. This access to water greatly broadens the trade opportunities and influences the people and everyday life of this region. In addition, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers have been essential to the Fertile Crescent since the beginning of its existence. Today, the land surrounding them is still very fertile and provides environments for a variety of animals. They also provide necessary and easily accessible water sources for Iraqi and Syrian people.
Although the Fertile Crescent would sound like it would provide many resources, its semi-arid climate keeps it from producing as much as it should. The Fertile Crescent's biggest resource they produce is petroleum. This is the main item that the area is able to export. The Fertile Crescent has few other resources such as iron, ore, and salt in very limited quantities. Iraq is the exception because it heavily relies on the oil they produce. Although they have some resources, the people of the Fertile Crescent mainly rely on imports from other areas.